I'm outside in the garden doing chores. It has been raining non-stop since I did the last few gardening videos. So today I'm just going through and I am looking for anything that is diseased. And I'm going to clip it all off. I was gonna spray today with something called Spinosad. It's a dead bug spray is the brand that I use, but it is thundering again. And so I don't wanna spray with something and then the rain come and wash it away. I did find one big old fat tomato worm, not a tomato hornworm, just a tomato worm, early this morning in one of my tomatoes, but all the rest seem to look pretty good. So hopefully the worms will hold off while all of this rain comes over the next few days, and then I will spray next week. And I have not even had a chance to fertilize everything this week because there has been so much rain. So next week we're gonna have to catch up on that too. So basically I just go in and take off anything like these that do not have any fruit on them, but you can clearly tell that that is a diseased yellowing brown limb. So as I was out here in the garden today, trimming up the lower limbs on all the tomato plants, making sure there's no diseased leaves from all of the rain that we've been having, I realized that I have never gone through and explained to y'all the different varieties of tomatoes that I have in my tomato garden. And there are reasons why I selected some of the varieties that I selected. As I've told y'all before, I only grow determinate varieties besides the Cherokee Purple and the large cherry that are over in my other garden. I like determinate varieties because they get to a certain height, they don't go crazy and make my ADHD go crazy, and they produce all of their fruit at one time. We don't really eat raw tomatoes here. We will fry up some green ones, but other than that, we only use tomatoes for sauces and canning diced tomatoes and salsa. One of the things when selecting varieties of tomatoes I have learned is that I need to select varieties of tomatoes that handle our heat and humidity here in Florida well, and not all varieties do that. A lot of the varieties that are indeterminate tomatoes tend to get really diseased here in Florida for me, and so I found that growing the determinate varieties and some hybrids are what work best here in Florida. On this first row, I have Celebrity and Bonnie Best tomatoes. The Celebrity tomato is a hybrid tomato. It does handle our humidity well. It is also resistant against multiple types of wilt and root knot nematodes. On the second row, I have Floridade, Margalobe, and Ace 55 tomatoes. The Floridade tomato is an heirloom tomato, but it was actually developed by the University of Florida. It is very humid and heat resistant, and it does really well here in Florida. I grew these 3 varieties last year and had a lot of success with them. The next tomato that I grow on this row is a Margalobe tomato. It is an heirloom tomato. It is crack resistant, and it's also resistant to several types of wilt. The next tomato that I grow on this row is the Ace 55, and of course they're all the way at the end, but they are also a crack resistant, disease resistant tomato. They are an heirloom tomato. If I were only going to grow 3 varieties of tomatoes here in Florida, it would be the Floridade, Margalobe, and the Ace 55 that I have growing here on this middle row. They've always been great producers here in Florida for me. The next row has my sauce tomatoes. All of these, of course, will be turned into sauce, but these are your specific tomatoes that you grow for sauce. The 2 types that I grew this year were the Roma VF and the Martino's Roma. The Roma VF is wilt resistant, and the Martino's Roma is early blight resistant. They did have a few damaged leaves from the rain that we've been getting the last few weeks, but for the most part, all of these varieties that I just listed do not have a ton of damage. And I've been very impressed because if you scroll back and look at my video from a few days ago, you will know that this entire patch was completely underwater. And so the few limbs that I just went through and trimmed off were pretty actually surprising to me, because I actually figured that I needed to come out here with my wagon and fill it up and haul it to the dumpster. But if you have any questions about the varieties that I grow, of course, reach out to me and ask me any type of questions. I love growing determinate varieties of tomatoes. I do like growing the Cherokee Purple just because it's a really cool looking tomato. And then of course I grow the large cherries just for something different.